Three champions, 3 days, one stunning reality. Alex Eala has turned the Mubadala DC Open into her personal throne room. She dethroned an Olympic gold medalist. She ended a defending champion's reign with a miraculous comeback. And she did it all while 80% of ticket inquiries, maybe more, were asking for one name. Now, world no. 10 Elina Svitolina stands between her and the semifinals. The rematch is set, and the entire Philippines is watching. 3 champions, 3 days, one stunning reality. Alex Eala has turned the Mubadala DC Open into her personal throne room. She arrived in Washington as a rising star. She leaves the first week as a certified giant slayer. In just 72 hours, Eala did what few players in tennis history have ever accomplished. She defeated 3 champions in 3 consecutive matches, each victory more dramatic than the last. It started with Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist, the woman who had broken Eala's heart 3 years ago at the Asian Games. That loss had haunted the young Filipina, a reminder of how close she was, and how far she still had to go. But this was a different Eala. This was the Eala who had just beaten the defending Wimbledon champion. The Eala who had climbed to world number 28. The Eala who no longer feared anyone. The match was a war. Zheng took the first set 6-4, and history seemed destined to repeat itself. But Eala refused to break. She dug deep, found another gear, and roared back to win the second set 6-4. Then, in the decider, she completely dismantled the Olympic champion, winning 6-1. "I think it's definitely a mindset that you have," Eala said after the victory. "I've had more experience now to implement that mindset at the higher level." That victory wasn't just about advancing to the next round, it was redemption.
It was Eala completing a rare feat, defeating all 3 medalists from the 2024 Paris Olympics. She had already beaten silver medalist Donna Vekic and bronze medalist Iga Swiatek.
Now she had conquered the gold. But she wasn't done. Her next opponent was Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion of the DC Open. The Canadian star had beaten Eala just months earlier in Stuttgart 6-1, 6-4, and she was hungry to do it again. What followed was the kind of performance that defines a career. Eala came out firing and won the first set 6-2 in just 34 minutes. Fernandez looked rattled. Her game was error-prone, and Eala was pouncing on every mistake. But champions don't give up. Fernandez found her rhythm in the second set and won 5 straight games to build a 5-1 lead. The momentum had completely shifted. The crowd grew tense. It looked like the match was going to a third set. It looked like Eala's incredible run might finally hit a wall. Then Eala did the impossible. She didn't panic. She didn't let frustration consume her. She just kept fighting, point by point, game by game. "I know that she was playing a little better, and maybe my level dropped a little bit," Eala admitted later. Those are very tricky moments when you know your level's dropped, and you want to do better. But things just, for one reason or another, aren't coming out. I think patience was key there, and just trying to work it out, and have a strong mentality in terms of trying to find solutions. She found those solutions. She clawed her way back from 1-5 to 6-6, forcing a tiebreak. In that tiebreak, she was flawless. She dominated Fernandez 7-1, clinching the match in 1 hour and 53 minutes. She had just dethroned the defending champion. She had avenged a painful defeat. She had booked her place in the quarterfinals. But here's what made this streak truly remarkable. This wasn't just about winning. It was about who she beat. An Olympic gold medalist. A defending champion. And before that, a 3-time Grand Slam champion in Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon. 3 champions, 3 days, one stunning reality, and now, standing between her and the semifinals, is world number 10, Elina Svitolina, the woman she had already beaten once before. The rematch is set, the entire Philippines is watching, and Alex Eala is ready to do it all over again. The phone calls started months before Alex Eala ever stepped onto a court in Washington, and they never stopped. Tournament chairman Mark Ine sat in his office watching the ticket inquiries flood in. Grand Slam champions were on the roster, Olympic medalists, some of the biggest names in tennis, but the phones weren't ringing about any of them. They were ringing about one name, a 21-year-old from Manila who had never played in Washington before. I will say, over the last month, the ticketing team says at least 80%, if not more, of the requests in this tournament are about when is Alex Eala playing? I'm revealed. Then he corrected himself. Honestly, I think it's more, and they just didn't want to say it was more, but they're like virtually all 80%, the official number. But I knew the truth. It was virtually every single inquiry. This wasn't just a ticket surge. This was a phenomenon. And Ein and his team had seen it coming months ago. When you look at the amazing players here and how many great stars there are, it says something about Alex's following, Ein said. Obviously, she's been an icon, becoming an icon in the Philippines, but worldwide. So there's obviously Filipinos everywhere. The organizers didn't just stumble into this. They actively pursued it. Earlier this year, in the early spring, our team said, "This is a phenomenon that's spreading, and we should try to get Alex to come to Washington." Ein revealed. That decision transformed everything. When Eala's participation was confirmed, the floodgates opened. Thousands of inquiries poured in from across the country. From Filipinos living in Virginia, from Filipino communities in Maryland, from the diaspora in New York and California, all asking the same question. When is Alex Eala playing? Ein called her a phenomenal athlete and admitted that having her in Washington was honestly one of the really great things that's already happened this year. But here's what makes this story truly remarkable. Eala herself didn't see it as a business opportunity or a marketing success. She saw it as something far deeper. I knew there was a Filipino community, Eala said after her opening victory. Most of these places I'm not really sure what to expect at this point. But I was pleasantly surprised. I think there was a great atmosphere on court today. Very electric. Electric. That's one word for it. But for the thousands who filled the stands, it was more than that. It was history unfolding in real time. It was a diaspora finally having a hero to call their own. The numbers don't lie. The crowds don't lie. The tournament chairman doesn't lie. Alex Eala had become the single biggest force at the DC Open, and the organizers were scrambling to keep up. The on-court interviewer's question seemed innocent enough. What is it like to be this popular everywhere around the world, even here in Washington? She asked Eala, moments after her victory over Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen. It was the kind of question any rising star might receive. A chance to talk about herself, her journey, her success. But Alex Eala didn't take that path. She looked straight at the camera, smiled, and delivered a line that would instantly become legendary. I think the question should be rephrased as, "What's it like to be Filipino?" she said. Then she turned to the crowd and added two words that sent the stadium into a frenzy. "Salamat, mga kababayan." The crowd erupted. "Chants of Eala, Eala!" echoed through the stands. Filipino flags waved with renewed vigor. And in that single moment, a tennis player from Manila didn't just win a match. She captured the heart of an entire diaspora. But who was she thanking? She was thanking the Filipino fans who had shown up in force at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center. The ones who had driven for hours. The ones who had taken time off work. The ones who had packed the stands and turned a tennis tournament into a celebration of Filipino pride. This is my first time competing in D.C. I knew there was a Filipino community, Eala told the WTA after her opening victory. Most of these places I'm not really sure what to expect at this point, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think there was a great atmosphere on court today, very electric. The Filipino community in Washington, D.C. responded to her victory with an outpouring of love that only intensified as the tournament progressed. Social media exploded with clips of her post-match interview. Salamat, mga kababayan became a trending phrase, and Eala, the 21-year-old who had just beaten an Olympic gold medalist, spent more time thanking her countrymen than celebrating herself. I think the community here in D.C. is amazing, Eala said. There was a great atmosphere for both players, and I'm really happy with my win today. But Eala's humility wasn't an act. Hours later, in the post-match press conference, she expanded on what that support truly means to her. I think with the platform that I have, it's important for me to be aware of the impact that I hold, Eala reflected. And I learned through bits and pieces of what people and the fans themselves tell me. and I understand that I represent a lot. She is the first Filipina to reach this level in tennis, a sport that has historically been dominated by Europeans, Americans, and Australians. She has climbed to world number 28. She beat the defending Wimbledon champion at Wimbledon. And she is doing it all with the poise and grace of someone who understands the significance of every single victory. I represent a minority, she said. I'm the first Filipina to make it at this stage in tennis, and that doesn't just go for the Philippines necessarily. But maybe another nationality or another little girl who maybe didn't see a pathway before that. She doesn't just accept the responsibility. She embraces it. She knows that every time she steps onto the court, she is not just playing for herself. She is playing for a nation of over 110 million people. She is playing for the millions of overseas Filipino workers who wake up early and stay up late to watch her matches. She is playing for the kids in Manila who dream of one day holding a racket as confidently as she does. I'm really grateful for everyone who supports me, Eala said. They're the reason I have this platform at the end of the day, and it just adds to how meaningful my job is to me. Just weeks before her DC Open run, Eala had stood at Malacañang Palace, honored by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., following her historic Wimbledon campaign. In her speech, she spoke from the heart. Lubos kong ipinagmamalaki ang pagiging Pilipino. I carry the flag with me wherever I go, and I am a firm believer that where you come from is a big part of who you are. She promised to continue representing the Philippines in the best way that I possibly can. And in Washington, she's keeping that promise. One victory at a time. The Filipino fans, in turn, gave her everything they had. They filled the stands, they waved the red, white, and blue flag. They sang and chanted and cheered until their voices gave out. Because to them, Alex Eala is not just a tennis player. She is proof that the Philippines can compete on the world stage and win. And Eala? She never forgets that. Alex Eala looks across the net and sees a familiar face, and that familiarity might be her greatest weapon. Standing in her path to the semifinals is Elina Svitolina of Ukraine, the world number 10. The second seed in this tournament, the veteran who has won 20 WTA singles titles, including 3 Italian Open crowns. The woman who has reached the semifinals of 3 different Grand Slams, Wimbledon, the US Open, and the Australian Open. She is a former world number 3, a 20-time title winner, and a player who has beaten the very best this sport has ever produced. But here's what makes this quarterfinal different from any other match in this tournament. Eala has already beaten her. Just 5 weeks ago, in the quarterfinals of the Berlin Open, Eala dismantled Svitolina on grass, winning 6-3, 6-4 in 1 hour and 23 minutes. She hit 19 winners, made just 9 unforced errors, and broke Svitolina's serve 5 times. It was a performance that left even the Ukrainian veteran searching for answers. Is a huge fighter, and I've seen it many times, Eala said after that victory. I've been watching her since I was a kid, so to be able to compete with her today is such an honor. Those words were genuine, but they also carried a quiet confidence. Eala wasn't just hoping to compete, she was proving that she belonged. But this is a new surface, a new city, a new challenge. And Svitolina has made it very clear that she is coming for revenge. Tomorrow is a new surface, new country, a new city, so it's a new challenge, Svitolina told the WTA after advancing past Polina Kudermetova. And hopefully, I'm going to draw some confidence from today's match and carry it into tomorrow. She is right about one thing. Grass favors attackers. It rewards aggressive shot-making, quick points, and first-strike tennis. That is exactly Eala's game. But hard courts are the great equalizer. They reward consistency, patience, and court coverage, areas where Svitolina excels. The Ukrainian knows that on hard courts, she has a better chance to neutralize Eala's weapons. Svitolina also acknowledged the difficulty of her own comeback. It was not an easy battle for me. I was trying to be locked in. First match, hard courts, everything is new, she said. I was not expecting to play perfectly in the first match. When you have a break, when you have not played competitively for a bit, it's not easy. She's downplaying it, but make no mistake. Svitolina has been thinking about this rematch since the moment she lost in Berlin, and she knows what's at stake. A semifinal berth, A chance to prove that her victory over Kudermetova wasn't a fluke. A chance to remind the tennis world that she's still one of the best. But Eala is coming into this match with momentum that borders on unstoppable. She has already beaten an Olympic gold medalist and a defending champion in this tournament alone. She has already beaten Svitolina once, and she has the weight of an entire nation behind her. The question is, can she do it again? 3 champions. 3 days. One stunning reality. Alex Eala has stormed into the semifinals of the Mubadala DC Open. The Filipina superstar did what no one expected. She didn't just beat world no. 10 Elina Svitolina. She dismantled her, proving that her victory in Berlin was no fluke. The final score? A statement that echoed across the tennis world, sending shockwaves through the sport and cementing Eala's status as a true force on the WTA Tour. Svitolina entered this match with revenge on her mind. The Ukrainian veteran had spent days telling anyone who would listen that the grass court loss in Berlin was a surface issue, not a skill issue. Tomorrow is a new surface, new country, a new city, so it's a new challenge, she had warned. She was confident that hard courts, her preferred terrain, would level the playing field. But Eala had other plans. From the very first point, the 21-year-old from Manila played with a fire that Svitolina simply couldn't match. Her ground strokes were sharper. Her movement was quicker. Her belief was unshakable. And when the final point was won, the Filipino flags, in the stands, waved higher than ever before. The significance of this victory cannot be overstated. With this win, Eala has now defeated 3 champions in 3 consecutive matches. She avenged her 2023 Asian Games loss to Zheng Qinwen. She dethroned the defending champion Leylah Fernandez after a miraculous 1-5 comeback. And now, she has beaten a top 10 player for the 5th time in her career, improving her already impressive 7-4 record against the world's elite. This is more than just a tournament run. This is a coming-of-age moment for Philippine tennis. Think about what Alex Eala has achieved in just 7 days. She walked into Washington as a rising star. She leaves as a certified giant slayer, an Olympic gold medalist, a defending champion, a world number 10. She has beaten them all, and she's done it with the composure of a seasoned veteran. But here's what makes this story truly remarkable. Eala carries the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders, and she refuses to let it crush her. She embraces it. I think the question should be rephrased as, what's it like to be Filipino? She famously said after her victory over Zheng Qinwen. Salamat mga kababayan. Those words revealed everything about her character. She doesn't see herself as the star. She sees herself as a representative, a symbol of what an entire nation can achieve when given a hero to believe in. And now, she has done the unthinkable. She has reached the semifinals of a WTA 500 event. She has beaten 3 champions in 3 days. She has proven that she belongs among the elite. And she has given the Philippines a reason to dream. The semifinal awaits. Another champion stands in her way. But Alex Eala has already proven one thing. She fears no one. How far can she go? Is this just the beginning of something much bigger? And what happens when a young woman from Manila carries the hopes of a nation into the biggest match of her career? The world is watching. The Philippines is watching. And Alex Eala is just getting started. Alex Eala has done the impossible in Washington. 3 champions in 3 days, an Olympic gold medalist, a defending champion, a world number 10. She has beaten them all, and she's done it with the weight of a nation on her shoulders. The semifinals await, but Eala has already proven that she belongs among the elite. She is not just a rising star, she is a force of nature. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.